Welcome to the Film Sphere. I'm Brian Hogue, and this week, the Mission Impossible franchise, after more than 25 years, has finally come to an end. So I am here to rank every single Mission Impossible film from beginning to last. And my list might be divisive. I don't really know. I know some more cemented Mission Impossible opinions. I know mine are different in some ways, but I don't know. Either way, it's my list, and you can't hate on my list because I don't miss, so I'm sorry. All right, getting right into it, in last place, we have Mission Impossible 2. This is a really funny entry because it's sort of the outlier of the bunch. Directed by John Woo, which isn't a bad thing. John Woo's a good director. It's just John Woo directing a Mission Impossible film means we're having a lot of slow-mo, a lot of over-the-top action that doesn't really fit with how every other film in this series is, but except maybe the first film. And it just swings for the fences, and it's just got that early 2000s cheese to the max. We've got kicking up dirt and grabbing pistols and shooting, and we've punching each other on motorcycles, and we have really weird transitions and romantic subplots, and it's just all over the place. And I don't think I'm the only one that says that this is the cemented worst Mission Impossible film. Now, there is stuff to enjoy. For one, I think the Limp Bizkit version of the Mission Impossible theme has so much aura. And they probably should just use that for the rest of all time. And some of the action scenes are cool. I just don't think they really fit with the overall franchise and style that a lot of these movies bring. And that's why it's in number 8. And coming in number 7, I have the original 1996 film. And there's a lot to love about this film. I think it came out in a time where this was considered really slick, really, really smooth. It was breaking a lot of ground in the spy genre. Obviously, we'd be getting James Bond films for 40 years at this point. And Brian De Palma just came and made this really sleek and really cool political thriller, and also adapting this original TV show. And I think it works as a 90s as a spy film release in the 90s. It does work. It starts off with this really cool heist, and then the middle half sort of has a lot of this paranoid thriller vibes, as we have Tom Cruise really stuck in one place, and we have more action set pieces throughout. And then the finale, which brings it down, has the bonkers helicopter finale, which is very Mission Impossible, but it's also, again, in light of Mission Impossible 2, has that sort of cheesy feel to it. But overall, not a bad movie. Just when I have the rest of the franchise, the original is just not a movie I'm really revisiting that much. Which brings me to number 6, which is Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. But actually they changed the Part 1 because this movie flopped, and then they're let's not do Part 1, Part 2. And now it's just Dead Reckoning. But I will remember it as Dead Reckoning Part 1. And from here on, I'm solid on all these movies. This is one of the most consistent franchises of all time, so it's gonna be very hard to sort of rank these. But I think out of the new age Mission Impossible films, post Mission Impossible 2, I think this is the weakest. I think a lot of people are hating on a lot of the exposition in Final Reckoning that just came out, when honestly, there is a lot more exposition in Dead Reckoning Part 1. If you really look at it, we're introducing the entity, we are introducing Gabriel, who we never met before, and we're introducing Haley Atwell's character. And there's just a lot for a Part 1. That's a lot of setup. But on top of that, there is really, really great action sequences. And the movie does have this really nice flow to it, where we sort of start off with this airport sequence, and then we get to like the middle half, which is again more of like the really dialogue-driven parts of the film, where we're introduced to Gabriel, and we're bringing back Vanessa Kirby, and we're doing a lot of different things. And it ends with this really awesome finale, which obviously has the motorcycle base jump as well as the train heist and all that stuff. So there is a very memorable sequence in every single one of the acts, including that car chase sequence halfway through the film, which goes on for like 20 minutes. So it's by no means a bad film. It can be really clunky at times, especially just introducing all these new elements. But overall, this is still Chris McQuarrie and Tom Cruise, like, just at the top of their game. Like, there is some top-tier action and top-tier stunts in this film, and it doesn't let its foot off the gas even once in this movie. Coming in at number 6, I have Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Now, hear me out. It's been a very, very long time since I saw this film. Probably, I want to say 2022, 23, probably around the time Dead Reckoning came out. And I don't know. I've never been a ginormous fan of this film. It just, for me, when I think of Mission Impossible films, I feel like this is the most forgettable, and I just don't really tend to be drawn toward this film. I really like the introduction of Rebecca Ferguson. Also, Jeremy Renner is back, and there's a lot of things to like about this movie, obviously. Like I said, this is a top-tier franchise. All these movies are pretty good, but this one, out of the ones after this list, I just tend to forget a lot of elements to this. I think, like, I don't even remember who the villain is. I think it's the Isaiah guy. He's the villain in Fallout 2. I'm not entirely sure. There is some cool sequences. Obviously, we have the plane sequence at the beginning of the film, which is absolutely bonkers, as well as the underwater dive towards the end of the film, which is also awesome. But one thing I do really like about this movie is the team dynamic, and I haven't really talked about the team dynamic in the rest of the films. That were the films I've said so far, but the team dynamic is so tight-knit, and the chemistry is so good between everyone, and we have Jeremy Renner in this film too as well. I think it all just flows together so well, and that is probably what makes this higher than the rest of the films, although there's a lot of elements I forget about it, and I don't really tend to think about Rogue Nation a lot. I think all these characters together and all these characters bantering and working together is really what makes this film. Coming in at number 4, this might be my divisive pick, but at number 4, I have Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. Now, a little context before everyone goes like, why is Ghost Protocol at number 4? Because I hear a lot saying that Ghost Protocol is like number 1. That's the top tier. And again, all these movies are good. All these movies are fantastic. So don't get mad at my number 4 placement. I think all these movies are above like 3.5 stars. 3.5 stars and above from Dead Reckoning Part 1 on. So don't come yelling at me, screaming at me because your favorite movie didn't make it higher up on the list. That's what little babies do. I think going into Ghost Protocol, I was expecting a lot more than I got, and I still got like peak action cinema. I'm not discrediting that at all, but I was expecting like a freaking masterpiece. Now, it's not a masterpiece, but it is top tier action film and spy film. The stunts in this movie are insane. We have the Burj Khalifa. We have this awesome motorcycle chase on after that scene as well. And not to mention, I feel like this is sort of a progression from the third film, which I'll talk about later. This is such a strong progression from the third film where we started to take this franchise seriously. Like, really, 3, it started to move away from that really corny, cheesy spy side, and now we're just delivering thrills, and we're delivering action, and there's really high stakes, and it all feels like serious and all feels real. It doesn't feel like it doesn't come off as goofy, and there is like really fun banter and like humor between everyone. I think this is the funniest Mission Impossible film. But it all feels so real. It feels also organic, as well as Jeremy Renner's also in this film. That's great. But overall, one of the best Mission Impossible films, and this is the film where he goes rogue. This is like the original Rogue film, because he goes rogue in every Mission Impossible movie. But this is the movie where he goes really rogue. Now, coming into the number 3 spot, I have the newest film to be released, Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. Now, if you didn't see my out-of-theater reaction, go check that out on YouTube or my Instagram. Also, Instagram, link in the bio. I mean, you should probably go follow it. But, what a finale is all I gotta say. What a finale. Now, first hour slow. First hour has a lot of exposition, but that did not keep me from being locked in the entire film. Like, yeah, it's a lot of exposition. Yeah, we're trying to move a lot of different moving parts from place to place, but I know what the stakes are. We're shown what the stakes are. We're told what the stakes are. So any exposition for the first hour really didn't matter to me, because I was just so engrossed in this story and this heist and this world and what the world's come to, and I was engrossed in the mission, and that is what matters. And not to mention, this is the best the stunts have ever been in the entire franchise. The underwater sequence, I was sweating, and my heart was pounding. I was trying to hold my breath along with Tom Cruise. The flight sequence towards the end of the film, that is like a 15-minute sequence. Tom Cruise is a madman. He's hanging from the side of a plane, and it brings in so many like different, I guess, so many different like levels to like that plane sequence, because we had the plane sequence of Rogue Nation. He hangs onto it. That's cool. We've seen it before, so we have to elevate it somehow. So he's hanging from the plane, and he's got to get into the cockpit, but oh wait, he's in the wrong cockpit. He's got to get into the main cockpit, and then Gabriel's flying around and messing with his plane, but now he's got to get to Gabriel's plane because his plane's going to crash. And meanwhile, we have stuff going on with the president, Nick Offerman's character, as well as our main team down below. We're so many moving parts, and it's all converging together, and it's all at this boiling point, and it all just explodes and comes together so perfectly. It is tense, the action is insane, and I think it's a good ending to the franchise. Now, we can pick up this franchise if we want. The ending leaves that up to your own speculation, but it is a good ending. It is a very good film, despite some really just weird changes towards the beginning. I know there's a lot of divisiveness with all, like, a character towards the beginning of the film and a character's death towards the beginning of the film. There is some weird stuff. I feel like there was some stuff that was cut out due to, like, writer strikes, and I feel like there's a little bit of clunkiness there, and I felt it in Dead Reckoning Part 1 as well. But, again, I was invested in the story, I was invested in the mission, and it paid off in the end. So I'm not really going to be one of those guys that was like, the first hour was real slow, it was a little clunky, when the next 2 hours was just non-stop, and some of the best stuff we've ever seen in the franchise. Coming in at number 2, this is a lot of people's favorite Mission Impossible film, and that is Mission Impossible Fallout. Now, this is Christopher McQuarrie at his peak, and it just starts off so good. We have the paranoid thriller vibes from the first film, and we have this looming threat. We have the same threat we had in Rogue Nation, the same villain, and it's all comes together so well. And we have this looming threat from Rogue Nation, the same villain, and it's just all so well constructed. And we have such great dynamics with, like, Henry Cavill as this sort of, like, hero at first, but then they have, like, the betrayal. There's so many good twists in this film, and it honestly harkens back to, like, J.J. Abrams in Mission Impossible 3, just in sort of the way that like information's withheld and like stuff is explained and like the twists that are happening. This is probably Ethan Hunt at his best. Actually, not yet. I'll get into that later. This is probably the main supporting cast at their best, specifically Rebecca Ferguson, specifically Benji, Luther. Henry Cavill is fantastic here. He's an absolute tank. Alec Baldwin's also really good. And the ending sequence, we have the helicopter sequence, and the tension doesn't stop to the very last second. There's like a moment here where you think that we just lost, honestly. And they carry out the relief right to the point where like they have to relieve you of like the stress, essentially. And it's done so well. Not to mention, like, we obviously have the big stunts, we have the halo jump, and we have the helicopter stuff, but the hand-to-hand combat's also really good. The bathroom scene in particular is a phenomenal choreographed fight sequence between Ethan Hunt, Henry Cavill, as well as this third other guy who's the main guy that they're fighting. And it will go down as probably one of the best action films of all time, and it's just so good. But coming in at number 1, I'm not even sure if this is like a divisive pick, but Mission Impossible 3 is number 1 on my list. Now, when I think about Mission Impossible, I think the opening scene of Mission Impossible 3, which I think no one would disagree is the best scene in the entire franchise.
The way you're gonna get what you want is for you to... You think I'm playing? You think I'm playing? You don't think I'll do it? Where is it? Where the hell is it?
Look at me.
Where the hell is it?
Look at me. Stay with me.
7!
Philip Seymour Hoffman is giving his A game as this despicable villain. There's no redeeming qualities about this guy. There's nothing to really latch onto. This guy is a despicable human being that just likes being evil to be evil. And that opening scene is so good, giving an incredible performance like he always does. He never lets off in his performances. It's so good. Tom Cruise also giving a great performance. Obviously, they're both acting off each other. It's so good. Not to mention, incredible supporting cast. Obviously, we have, I believe, Benji is introduced in this film, but we also have, not to mention, Billy Crudup, Lawrence Fishburne. Michelle Monaghan is now in this film as his wife, and a lot of people don't like the whole wife storyline because they don't like that how the mission is so personal to Ethan. I think that's what elevates the film, honestly. There's just such a drive and such a specificity to Tom Cruise's performance because he's going after his wife. Not just because this is a mission that could end really badly, because he wants to get his wife back. And I think it plays so well. And there's great action sequences in this film. The warehouse scene is absolutely bonkers. And we don't, not to mention the bridge scene and the whole running parkour scene towards the end. Honestly, it's a very light third act, but I think it emotionally pays off with with him being reunited with his wife, as well as just the final confrontation with Damien and all of that subplot. And this was at a time where J.J. Abrams was sort of at his peak. Maybe not his peak, but this was a J.J. Abrams story coming into his own. He withdraws information so well in this film and will reveal it to you later on, and sometimes just doesn't reveal it later on. We don't need to know what the rabbit's foot does. Now, obviously, we do find out what the rabbit foot is later in other films, specifically Final Reckoning, but we don't need to know what the rabbit's foot is. We just know it's a dangerous weapon, and we're ransoming that for Ethan Hunt's wife. And it's the sort of thing that J.J. Abrams does so well, where just the smallest bits of information can make do for a really good and enticing story. And it's just structured so well as the twist with Billy Crudup and Lawrence Fishburne towards the end of the film. This is just a masterclass of spy thrillers. And that is why Mission Impossible 3 is my number 1 on this list. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram. And what is your ranking of the Mission Impossible films? My list is my list. I want to see your list. Be good people. Good night.